Hey there, fans! Welcome back to another episode of Prime Crossovers. This is where I show you guys how I create the characters that we've been doing for both Dinobots Unleashed, Galvatron's Revenge, and as well as Ultimate Annihilation, right? So as promised, we're going to go ahead and work on our newest character for Dinobots Unleashed, and that is going to be Transformers Prime Inferno. Now, as you guys can see here, I've got some reference images, images of the original character from Beast Wars, and then we've got a design that was done by one of our artists named Dom. So I had him come up with his version of what he thought Inferno would look like, and then what I do is I take that image and then I finalize it, I tweak it whatever way I would want to, so just to give it a little bit more of a prime look, or to give it that look that I'm looking for. So so just to start off, we talked about in the last episode how I normally use, or a good reference tool was the how to draw Transformers Prime characters. Basically showed you 4 steps, and that's kind of the guide that I'm going to go through, right? We're going to start out with a simple stick figure, which I've already done here. Then we're going to go ahead and add some layer of detail, and then we're going to, on the 3rd round, we're going to add some more detail, and then by the 4th round, we're going to go ahead and finalize everything. So let's go ahead and get started. Just like I mentioned before, we're going to get into some real basic stuff, right? So I started out with my frame. Now, this is going to require you guys to have some level of experience on Photoshop based on what I'm doing. But if you don't have that, again, pen and paper, or pencil and paper, right, is the best way to go. Now, for my Photoshop, what I like to do is I normally like to have one layer for my base, right? And you can see my stick figure, and then I go over it with the actual shape. So let's go ahead and start with our 2nd level according to the How to Draw Transformers Prime book, right? So I've got in my stick figure, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay in some real basic shapes here. Again, what we're doing is we're working with some cylinders, real simple, nothing too complicated. Again, just using some references, right? The references that I've got here on the side. I'm going to start to add those details once I've got my basic shapes down. I want to give this character a bit of a ominous look here. You know, real like all right, so now we've got our first layer. Right, now I'm going to hide our sketch, right? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start to create on the 3rd layer. Whoops, I added too many layers. That's okay. Now, here's where I'm going to come in. I'm going to go ahead and start working on getting some details in here. I usually like to start out with waist, right? It's the easiest. This is just, again, we're just sketching out right now. Once we got something that we like, then we take it on to final, right? I'm not as good of an artist that I can just do my final here on Photoshop. This, again, it's just basically to get us to where we need to go. I just like to outline some real basic stuff here. And then I take it on over to Illustrator for finalization. For now, showing you guys the process. Now, one thing that separates Prime from the others is that, you know, you have all the overlapping stuff, right? Overlapping metal. I really like how the original Beast Wars character had these, you know, the ant-like feet and whatnot. I think it's kind of cool to add that. With some spikes on the outside, kind of like that. Yeah, my on Photoshop, my job is not to finalize it here. I take a sketch, get it to where I need to get to, and then I take it on over to Illustrator for finalization. I don't like how this finger came out. All right, let me go ahead and clean them up and get them ready for the next round. Now that I've cleaned up the lines just a little bit, you can see the character starting to take shape. Now we can go ahead and go in and add a little bit more detail on this character. So let's go ahead and get started. Now what I like to do is I kind of want to make this character really give it some heavy forearms, right? This is essentially going to be like the armor that goes over the character, right? It's kind of what I like to do here. So as you can see here, I'm going to bring this around again using, you can see right here when I look down here, it's got some pretty big forearms, pretty thick overlapping metal, and that's kind of what I want to go for. Be something like that. Got the overlapping metal. And I want it to come over his hand like so. And then we had some spikes on him before, so I'm going to put those back in there. Make them look nice and spiky, right? This is pretty much where his See right there, that's where his arm is going to bend. Give him an extra layer here of a spike. Do something. Just to give it that prime overlapping. How about the chest? What I want to do is I want to do like an overlapping layer. So I want the layer to want it to be like an indentation here, and it looks like it's like, I don't know, like some type of armor underneath or something like that, right? This here. So I want to keep the face of the ant on his chest, real similar to the references that we have here. So I'm going to keep going with that, but I kind of want to look at, you know, this curvature down here that Don has on his, and see if we can't mimic something like that. I want to bring this all the way down. I think I'm going to bring this all the way down like that. Right? Big old giant eyes, right? So let's say comes up from up here. That. Same thing on this side. We're going to come up. Give it that spike. Give it some curvature there. And then we'll do something like that. We'll clean up those lines. And it looks a little messy right now, but that's why we do it on separate layers, right? Building on top of the other layer. So eventually it'll look good. And then maybe we'll do something like this. This should show maybe like different armor plating, right? Let's get into the other side. Show that some shadow. We'll add in that extra layer. And then fix that up. All right, so I think I've got enough to go on to go ahead and take him on over to Illustrator and finalize him. Oh, I do want to work on this. Actually, I missed the groin area. And going with the spikes that Dom has, like to continue on with that. Let me go ahead and clean this up so that way we can go ahead and take him on over to Illustrator. Alright guys, now that we have it all cleaned up, let's just go ahead and put in some things some items that I missed. For instance, I missed here the spikes on this side. Remember how we put spikes on him on the other side? So let's go ahead and just add those in here. A little bit of a spiky character. And then, you know what? I also want to add some spikes onto his legs here. Kind of like that, right? And then we'll do the same thing here on this side. So, as you can see here, we've got some detail going on, right? We've taken it from a stick figure all the way down to this character here. And I want to color this all black here so that way we know. This looks better. This is like some type of like his antlers or something like that, his horns. I don't know. Makes them look kind of tough. Here we'll add some black here as well just to differentiate what we're doing. Yeah. That's good. All right, guys, and here is our final sketch that we'll go ahead and take over to Illustrator, and I will finalize everything on Illustrator. Why do I do things on Illustrator? First of all, when you're dealing on Photoshop, you're dealing with pixels, right? So if you blow up your image, it's going to eventually pixelate, right? You're going to get those little tiny squares that are really visible. So what I do is I take it over to Illustrator because it's Illustrator works with mathematical calculations, right? And so what that does is that when you blow up an image, no matter how big or how small, it'll never distort, right? It'll never pixelate, right? Because they're not done with pixels. They're done with vertices, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what I like to do. And as you can see here on our image, I am going to swap out the final result from Illustrator. So guys, there you have it. We have Transformers Prime Inferno ready for action in Dinobots Unleashed. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you like this? Did you find this helpful? Please let me know. And until the next time, until the next character, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out. Till all are one.